Look, I really apologize. I've really had to put you so far away because I'm literally so tall. Actually, let me try. Zoom it up a little bit, shall we? Yeah, is that better? A little bit better. Anyway, I'm literally too tall for anything. But anyway, in today's video, we are going to be seeing if I know my taste in books or not. You see these books on this side of my rotating bookshelf? Yeah, well, not those ones, but these ones. I look at them on this shelf and I think, I don't know if I like you. Like, a lot of time has passed, my reading taste has changed, and I don't know if I'm going to like these books anymore. So we're going to have a bit of a taste test, and we're going to see if I actually do know my taste in books or not, and this will feature a bit of an unhaul at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. We've got 7 books here. The way this is going to go is I will give this book up to 100 pages, and if by 100 pages I like the book, I will keep it up until I finish reading the book. And then if I don't like the book up to reading the 100 pages, then I will get rid of it. It will be unhauled at the end of this video. I will give myself the option to DNF a book if I'm really not enjoying it, but that's pretty much how it's going to go. A bit of a quick rundown on the books. The first one we have is Law by Alexandra Bracken. This is Greek mythology meets Hunger Games. We then have The Handyman Method by Nick Cutter and Andrew F. Sullivan. This one is a haunted house renovation thing where this couple move into their new home and they find that the house really isn't up to scratch, so the husband finds this channel on YouTube or this video, and as soon as this main character starts renovating his house, he realizes that really weird creepy things are starting to happen after watching this one renovation video. Threadneedle by Cari Thomas. You know, I am doing this intro after reading all the books. I really can't give you a proper explanation for what this book is because it's very light in the plot. Like, it's this magical world where magic is used, or magic is wielded by using knots, and it's about the dangers of magic. Is magic really as dangerous as Anna's auntie makes it out to be? That's a really bad explanation, but that's the basics of what I can give you for this book. We are then going for a paranormal romance. We have Hunt by Meg Alivien. It's the second book in the Monster Boyfriends series. I don't know how long the series is going to go for, but I think each book follows a different couple. So the first one was the werewolf one, and I actually found this vampire one because that's all the books they had in my little local indie bookshop. It's like a vampire romance, and it's about this vampire who, let me just say, it's about 2 lonely people in this small town. It's a small town romance. 2 lonely people, one a vampire, one a human, and it's a romance. They learn to not be lonely with each other. The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This one follows a group of women in Pompeii's brothel, one of the brothels in Pompeii, and it's about, so we follow this woman, these group of women actually, but we're following one woman in particular who was trying to buy her freedom from this brothel house. Sistersong by Lucy Holland. This is a fantasy-ish, but it's more folkloric mythology kind of thing, historical fiction, and it follows 3 sisters. I think one of them is trans. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting from it. This village that they live in is coming under threat because magic is slowly slipping away from them because Christianity is wanting to take over the land. And the last book we have is The Girl on the Walls by A.J. Gnuse. This one follows a young girl who's pretty much hiding in the walls of her house, and there's a new family living in this house, and she's just hiding in the walls of this house. And the 2 boys that live in this house discover that she is pretty much living in the house uninvited, and what's gonna happen? Are they gonna kick her out or stuff like that? So there's a bit of mystery involved in this. Alright, those are the 7 books, and now let's get on to the reading. I'm going to have to DNF Law by Alexandra Bracken. Look, I might as well just take out the, what's that called again? A bookmark. Wow. So yeah, I ended up not even reaching to 100 pages. I got to page 92 to where it says 10 years earlier. That's what I got up to. I just find it incredibly convoluted, especially when it comes to the descendants, the hunters, the gods, the new gods, ancient gods, and all that kind of stuff. I find it, for me, a little bit convoluted, and it's a little bit unnecessary for it to be this difficult to follow and this difficult to understand. It should be simple, it should be easy to understand, but it just isn't. I'm not too familiar with Greek mythology. Greek mythology, the history of ancient Greece, or just the history of Greece itself, is a big interest of mine. After coming back from Rome and just knowing about, being somewhat familiar with some of these ancient civilizations, it is a bit of an interest of mine. And I don't know if this book is really helping me with my enjoyment of Greek mythology, which is really sad. It's just not worth it. Whenever I pick up this book, I just find myself putting it down and just, I don't want to, when I look at this book and when I know I have to get to like 100 pages before I decide whether to unhaul it or not, I find myself not wanting to pick up this book. It's making me like a little frustrated to get back into it because, like, what are the descendants? Obviously, the houses have families, and there's bloodlines, and there's descendants, and it just doesn't it doesn't feel cohesive enough for me. I feel stupid when I just don't know if it's really explained properly, honestly, which is, it is sad. I've had this on my TBR for a very long time, pretty much since it, actually, when did this come out? Like 2021, wasn't it? Or something like that? Yeah, 2021 this book came out, and I think the time has passed for me to enjoy a young adult fantasy. It is standalone, so that is a bit of a bonus. And you know it's not good when you go on Goodreads to look at spoilers to see if it's really, really worth your time and effort to continue on with this book. And I did, and not even the spoilers really gave me a lot of information about what really happened at the end. From what I've read, the ending was rushed and really made absolutely zero sense. It was just a very very bad conclusion kind of thing, especially when we don't even get to experience it for ourselves through the character's eyes, if you know what I mean. And just, yeah, I don't really have a desire to pick it up. There's other books I want to be reading, there's other books I need to get through for this video, so to save my sanity, I am going to unhaul it, sadly. So this is a little bit unexpected, but I think I'm actually going to keep The Girl on the Walls by AJ Gnuse. There is something about it that I'm liking. I'm just really, come on Maggie, up, 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 up. Good girl. And she just had a bath too, so she smells really, really nice. And yeah, so I'm going to keep this book because I'm intrigued. I want to see how everything is going to unfold, because part of the story is that the two boys living in this house have found out that there is this girl that's living in their walls of the house. So I'm very curious to see how that part of the story is going to unfold. And like, the writing does feel a little bit stilted in some areas. I'm not going to lie, there are some sentences that just kind of like don't make a bit of sense. I kind of feel just like a little bit like I have to reread it again, like twice or 3 times to properly understand what's happening. But I'm enjoying it. I really am. I'm going to put it back on the shelves where I have all the other books I want to unread, or unhaul I should say, because I want to read this book sooner rather than later. I may still end up unhauling it halfway through when I actually read this book. Or get around to reading this book, I should say. I'm actually not even at the 100-page mark. I'm actually at like the 50-ish page mark, and I'm already intrigued. I'm already curious. The scheduling, like if you put 1 foot wrong, 1 foot out of place, like this little girl I'm talking about, she's kind of screwed. So it's like very careful planning that she has to do. The way it's written kind of feels a bit storybook-esque. All I can say is that it's kind of storybook-esque, where it's kind of like a narrator, because it kind of says the girl did this, the girl does that, the boys kind of thing, if I'm making any sort of sense. And the chapters are nice and short, and the font is actually pretty big. I'll just show you like the fonting. The fonting is pretty decently big. I'm hoping you can see that. And yeah, so that's good. That's helping the book go fast. You know, it's a bit of a surprise that I'm actually keeping this book on my shelves for a bit longer. But that's kind of like the point, is to read these books and hopefully get them out of the house and off my bookshelf, so I have more books that I want to read, more books on my shelves that reflect who I am as a reader. On to the next book. I have a bit of a fear that I know my book taste a little bit too well. Let me try and explain. So I'm gonna do a bit of a group review kind of thing. Is that too dark? Damn lighting in this place. Anyway, so yeah, the first one that I actually really enjoyed is Sistersong by Holland. This is so good. Wait, let me... God, it was good before. Now what the hell's happening? Wait a minute. Okay, so that's just natural. Right, okay. So that darkness is like completely natural. I don't know how I feel about that. Sistersong, I really unexpectedly enjoy. Now this is really bothering me. There's literally nowhere else to put you. Now see, that's too high. Oh hey, that's a bit better. That is a bit better. Okay, so crisis averted. Sistersong, I have really enjoyed this quite a bit. It is queer, especially with one character, Keen, Keyn. I'm assuming it's Keen. I don't know if she's depicted as being trans or gender neutral, gender fluid or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure, but she feels like she's kind of like born in the wrong body. We do follow the three sisters, the three perspectives in this book, and each have their own... I don't want to say it's overly distinctive, but you can tell which one's which like the more you read, and it does help that the beginning of each new perspective we get their names, so we know like which sister we are following. This one is so good. It's so steeped in history and folklore and mythology. It's to do with the taking over of Christianity taking over like little towns, traditions and gods and worshipping and all that kind of stuff. It's not a spoiler, because it does kind of say that. Yeah, see, it talks about the Saxons, so it's a lot about British history, and you know, it's so freaking good. I absolutely loved this. I think I could actually keep this book on my shelves, which the whole point of this reading vlog is to unhaul books, not to read them and keep them, you know? So, one good book. Well, actually, it's two good books, because then I reached 100 pages of The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This one is a historical fiction, and it's a reimagining of the women working in the brothels in Pompeii. So it's Roman history. I actually really want to learn a bit more about Pompeii now. I actually wanted to go to Pompeii last year when I went to Italy, but it just never happened, as you can't see everything, you know. So I've had this book on my shelves for years, and I loved this one too. It's so good. It doesn't shy away from terminology of genitalia and calling women whores and stuff like that. So it doesn't shy away from the darker aspect of it and just like the negative aspect of it, which is good to see, because you don't really want to sugarcoat it, because a life like this for these women is not good, you know, because there's a lot of abuse. But it's also good to see this sister relationship, like the strong friendship that these women have, because they're all in the same predicament, so they really need to lean on each other. And you know what? This one also has really good sister relationships as well. Like, this is really strong sister relationships. And this one does too. There is some competition between the different owners of the women in the different brothel houses. There was like a chapter that, I don't know, I just feel like the beginning was a little slow-ish, but I think I was reading this when I was a bit tired coming back home after work. So I'm just going to just say that was because of that. Yeah, it's about women. They're trying to buy their freedom. They don't want to live like this. Who the fucking hell does? Another one that I actually might keep. This is a series as well. It's a trilogy because of course it is. And I think from what I've seen, like, I don't really care too much to spoil myself too much because I am now interested in the whole trilogy now. And I think the last one is about Mount Vesuvius, like we all know the story of Pompeii, how it's a city I don't want to say vanished well, they kind of did. A volcanic eruption happened and everyone kind of like, everything got destroyed and people are still mummified in Pompeii. I think they are anyway. So yeah, we know the history of Pompeii, so it all leads up to that point, and I want to know how that goes. So I'm very interested, very interested. I think I kind of know where it's kind of going to go, but I don't really care because it's a very, very good book. So, which is honestly, like, I don't need more books to potentially keep on my shelves, but I have 3 books left to go. I think I want to pivot to something, since both of these are mythology reimaginings and stuff like that. I need a bit of a change of pace. I do have a horror, which I think I might go for next. Do you want to know why I've had issues just now with my camera and why the heck is it so dark? I had it on the wrong damn setting because I was playing around. As you can see, I've got my Christmas tree up and it has lights like in the leaves. I was playing around with the different settings on like the manual settings and I didn't change it back to video. That's why it looks really, really weird. Your girl is tired. She's been waking up really early lately and I'm hungry and I want breakfast. Wait a minute. Okay, so yeah, I don't always completely know my book taste, but I know it enough to know I'm DNFing this fucking book. The Handyman Method by Nick Cutter and Andrew F. Sullivan. Yeah, I don't like it very much. It's just the writing, the dialogue. I will admit the haunted house element and the fact that there is this creepy, weird, what the hell is this video online teaching the main character how to fix his house, because the plot of the story is that this guy's house, he's like in an, like him and his family have moved into a unfinished development, and in the neighborhood, like the neighborhood is unfinished, undeveloped. They walk into their house and they discover that there is work that has to be done. Look, that haunted house aspect, this creepy entity or this really weird entity that's taking over their lives and teaching them how to fix a haunted house, that is actually really unique and pretty interesting. I don't think I've read something like that. However, everything else feels very off to me. I feel like I'm missing bits and pieces of the story. It feels like they've taken bits and pieces and tropes from other horror stories, whether it be horror movies or horror books or whatever else, and just slapped it into this book without any kind of fleshing out in a way. There is a lot of misogyny in here. I hate the characters. Like, I don't necessarily need to like the characters. Actually, no, I don't hate the kid that much. No, I can't hate the kid that much because the kid is fine. It's just the characters are bad, honestly. Like, I don't need to absolutely fall head over heels in love or even like a character that much to enjoy a book, but there's nothing redeeming. There's nothing about the writing. There's nothing about even the characters themselves. Even though they're unlikable, there's nothing else to like about them. So it's not good. And there's a turtle. You know a turtle's gonna die in a Nick Cutter book. I read The Troop. That was actually pretty disturbing. and I actually really loved The Troop. I thought it was a really good book. I finally read the book after years of wanting to read it. And I also read The Deep by Nick Cutter as well. I don't know if it's this Andrew F. Sullivan guy that I'm not enjoying. I want to read one of his books before I pinpoint what it is or who it is. I have never read anything by this Andrew F. Sullivan guy, so I do want to try and read something from him. Nick Cutter, yeah, I think I will always read a Nick Cutter book. I really enjoy his books. The movie The Shining, people have always said there's a difference between the movie and the book. In the movie, Jack is pretty much angry straight on. You know he's a character that you really should not root for, that you really should not like. And in the book, it's his mental decline is more of a slow progression. In this book, it's pretty much full throttle, full start. They like anger with this husband, with this father. I don't even know what is his name. I don't think Trent. There you go. I was going to say I don't think I care enough, but his name is Trent. The wife is equally as weird, and I'm pretty sure I said this before, but whenever it comes to a book, any kind of book, if I'm not enjoying it, I will see spoilers. I will look up spoilers, and I don't think I like this ending very much. It's too weird. I like a weird book, but this is just not for me. When I read the scene where they were entering into the house, like there is some sort of weirdness between the husband and wife. We do get a bit of a glimpse into why it could be, because he is not working while the wife still is, so that there's that kind of anger. And I think another reason why Trent is like pretty much full on like movie Jack from The Shining is that he did suffer a bit of a brain injury at work, and he got laid off work, or I don't think it's suspended, but he got laid off work for a while until he figures his shit out. And you can tell that there is some hostility there. Like there's also like a lot of toxic masculinity as well as what a man should be. And I actually think I caught on pretty early that I think the wife may have had a bit of a miscarriage. So, like, I didn't get to that point where I find out if I'm correct or not. I haven't gotten to that point. It's just, that's what it seemed like to me. Just with some things that were said, there was some really strong, very good social commentary on father-son relationships in The Troop. And it was fantastic in The Troop. But with this one, it was a bit more toxic. Like, this is what a man should be. You shouldn't be a sensitive little boy. You should be a man, kind of thing. And I think because of the fact that Trent suffered a bit of a brain injury or head injury, that I think that's why he is the way he is. Because I actually do think, I read somewhere that if you do suffer a bit of a head injury, your behavior changes as well, if I'm correct in that. I don't know if I'm correct, but that's just what I've heard. So I don't know if it's that, or if it is the anger that of just everything else combined, that on top of having a very terribly finished house is just adding onto that. I'm not entirely sure. You know, even though it didn't, you know, because it's a short book, I was actually hoping to just push through it and just finish off the damn book, because having read 100 pages of this book would have taken me to around halfway, and I didn't want to have to pick up the book again and struggle through it again to finish it off completely. I was just going to read it in its entirety and break my own rules for this vlog. But I couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, no, I don't like this. This isn't for me. There is another book that is for me, and I'm not going to talk to you about it until I finish off that book. Alrighty, let's wrap up the last two books. I ended up reading the entirety of Hunt by Meg Alivien. This is a book that I just randomly stumbled across, and it is the second book in the Monster Boyfriends series. It's a paranormal romance set in a small town, and I absolutely loved this book. Gave it a 4 stars, and it was great. Like, the characters in these books are adults. It does give you a bit of a glimpse into the first book, into what happened in the first book, and I don't think you necessarily need to read them in order because it kind of is like a couple of the week, or each book has like a different couple, and there is a bit of character development with the characters, with the love interests that we follow. There is maturity because when they have a bit of issues, they kind of work through them, even though it's a little bit difficult to talk about, even though they kind of struggle with their feelings, they do talk about it, like, hey, don't run away from me, we've got to talk about this, and yeah, what you're feeling is a bit scary, but what you're feeling is valid, and what you're feeling is what you're feeling, you know, we got to talk about it. It is a bit smutty, it is a bit spicy. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. And for being such a small book, there's not too many spicy scenes, which is good. And the main character has a farm with her mother, and we get to follow that a little bit. And I don't know what else to say other than I absolutely loved this book, and we get to see a bit of history in this small town, in this small paranormal town where paranormals are living, and just a bit of the history of that. It's a well written book, it's a well done, well fleshed out book, I would like to say. I really would have liked for this book to have been a little bit longer to really flesh out the characters' emotions, and just to get a little bit more of a glimpse into the characters' like inner thoughts, because there was some moments where it was kind of like out of the blue, but I think you kind of have to read between the lines into what the characters were feeling at that time, or like a few scenes, a few chapters before. It was good, a really good book. I want to read the first one now, and there also is going to be a third one in the series, so I'm very excited to read that. And the last book that I'm gonna DNF is Threadneedle by Cari Thomas. I didn't even get to 100 pages, I just barely got to 50 pages, and I don't think I can really do it anymore. I'm really struggling with it. I just can't really get into it. I've tried, and it's not really working out for me, sadly. The writing is fine. It does feel a little bit too YA-y. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot involved in this book. I think it's just going to be following characters, and I don't really want to be doing that. In this book, especially with the YA book, the magic system is interesting enough, I guess, where magic is bound with knots or something like that. I just feel like it's a bit too young for me. I'm nearly a 30-year-old woman, and I'm following 16, 17-year-olds. I don't want to be following that, you know. Anna is the main character in this book, and her aunt, who she is living with, is incredibly manipulative and very abusive towards her, and that was written quite well. That's all I can really say. Anna is starting a new school year, and I don't want to be following 16-year-olds. I really don't. Yeah, I don't want to. So I'm taking the bookmark out, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it. Alrighty, some time has passed, and as you can tell, if you've watched up to this point, you can tell I'm wearing the exact same shirt that I did for the intro. So it's December, it's a very busy time for me. Okay, let's just, let's start off with the bad. Let's do a quick little wrap up. We have Law by Alexandra Bracken. I DNF'd this. It was not for me. It was a little bit young. It was a little bit too convoluted for something that should be simple. A little bit convoluted, a little hard to follow, and I wasn't overly a fan of it, and I DNF'd it at just under 100 pages. We then have The Handyman Method by Nick Carter and Andrew F. Sullivan. Oh boy, were there a lot of issues I had with this. It kind of felt like, take all of the horror tropes, put them in one movie, a book, I mean. There was a lot of negative things about the characters, except for the kid. The kid was innocent in this one. There was just a lot of weird shit. A lot of things, again, did not make sense. There was a bit of misogyny. There was a little bit of hostility towards the married couple. That's kind of what it seemed like to me. And a big fat no thank you, unfortunately. Threadneedle by Cari. I feel like it's a little bit too young adult for me, considering the fact that they're really... I don't want to say there isn't a plot, because the plot is that she's trying to find out what's happening with her parents, or what happened to her parents, rather her mother, I think. Look, the magic system was interesting enough, not enough for it to grab my attention, a little bit too young adulty as well. I was not going to be interested in reading about the daily life of high school students when they actually get to high school and all the drama and bullshit that surrounds that. I'm nearly a 30-year-old woman. I don't want to hear about high school bullshit anymore. Been through my high school years. No thank you. I don't want to repeat. Now onto the positives. We got to end this on a positive note, you know. I broke my own rules of reading a book up to 100 pages and then deciding if I wanted to keep it for another year or so. I read the entirety of Hunt by Meg Alivien. I absolutely freaking loved this book. It was so good, the relationship and the chemistry between the two main characters, because we do get dual point of view. Just the relationship, the chemistry between both of them was so good, and the fact that the characters in this book are adults, they're in their 30s and their 40s. I swear there has been a frog or some sort of animal that has been living outside this house ever since this house completed the build, and I can hear it right now. I hope you can't hear it. I'm gonna try and increase the volume of that so you can hear it. I swear there's a frickin' frog. There's a frog out there. Anyway, we don't want to talk about frogs, we want to talk about steamy vampire romances. And this was so freaking good. Oh my gosh, I really want to read all the rest of the books now. There's going to be a new one coming out in next year, I know that. I think it's April. I might have to get it on Kindle, or I'll actually try and see if I can get this in paperback, because I freaking love this. The chemistry, the relationship felt so mature because they are adults, you know, so when they ran into a bit of an issue with their relationship, it's like, no, come back here, we got to talk about this, we're adults here, we got to talk, even though it's really hard for you. There was character growth, character development. It was really, really freaking good. I loved it a lot. We then have The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. I don't know why I thought I wasn't going to like the mythology, folkloric tales, like the historical fiction tales in this video, because I loved this one. I read around 100 pages and I just wanted to keep reading. It was so good. I'm going to read it in the new year. Definitely read it in the new year. It is a series, and of course it is a series, and I really, really liked the women. The women were awesome. The women that were living together in this one brothel house, they were all very supportive of one another. There was some hostility with the other women in the other brothel houses, but that was to do with the fact that the women get so horribly treated by these men that there had to be some sort of competition to keep their master, their pimp, you could say, to keep their pimp happy. So there was rivalry amongst the other women in the other brothel houses, but the women living in this one brothel house, they were all very supportive of one another. They were really loving towards one another, even though the women are different. They do have different personalities and such, and it was really beautiful to see this camaraderie between them. Sistersong by Holland. It's like I said, why did I think I was not going to enjoy the folkloric mythology, historical fiction books? Because I loved this one. We do get the 3 multiple points of views following the 3 different sisters that we follow. The distinction between the 3 took a little bit of getting used to, like trying to figure out whose voice is who. We do know whose voice is who because they have their name. Like on like the chapter, like under the chapter number, we know who we're following. If we're following Rain, what are their names again? This is terrible. Oh, River, Keen, and Sin. I'm gonna pronounce those names so wrong. It is distinctive enough where you know, because you know whose chapter you're gonna be following. I just would have liked it a little bit more with their personalities. But I think as I read a bit more, I'll know who was who a little bit easier. And then we have the last one, The Girl on the Walls by AJ Gnuse. yeah, I definitely had a bit of an interest, a bit of an intrigue. My interest and intrigue was more to do with what happens if this young girl gets found out, and what are the boys going to do, and what are the parents of the boys going to do once they find out that, hey, there is someone living in our house without us knowing, and she's doing so in a very creepy. Oh my gosh. Creepy. Anyway, and she's being really creepy about it because she's crawling around in the walls. Oh, creepy. Fucking hell, I tell ya. I can't pick up the 4 books with one hand, but these, oh my gosh, these 3 books are going to leave my house. But I have to do my wrap-up, my reading wrap-up of the year, and then those books will be going. There is another book that I'm seeing that I think I could unhaul, but I kind of want to reread it. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, because what I think I want to do next year is reread the books I've already read, because there are some books where I think, yeah, you know, you were just okay, or either I didn't really give an honest rating to some of the books, so I don't know if I'll make too big of a video on the ones I have read, if I'm going to unhaul the ones I've read or not, but I will tell you, I will let you know when I do reread them if I'm going to keep them or not. But that is something I'm wanting to do, because there are some books that I've read that I've liked in the past, and then as the years have progressed, I've realized I may not like you a lot, or I just don't see the books staying on my shelves for a long time, for eternity pretty much. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I will see you in another video. Bye for now.